Hey there everybody. So in this short video lesson, we're going to just take a quick look at some of the household data that's available at the census. When we say households, of course we mean individuals or a series of individuals who make joint consumption decisions. Okay, it's a couple lectures on that. Okay, so let's hop over. So right all around us here we have census.gov, right? So this is just the United States Census. It is it might be the largest website on the planet. Okay, the amount of information that's contained here is incredible. Okay, so what I'm going to do here first is I'm going to enter into the search bar on the top. I'm just going to say household income. There we go. Spell it correctly. And hit enter. And okay, and after a few moments, what comes up here is this page that's now around us. We can see the median household income here. This is for the United States, of course, from the American Community Survey, 5-year estimates, just a little under $63,000. We can then see this by chart or by table, by state, by race of householder, so on and so forth, state. Okay, you can read these things. Let's just grab this one quickly. Okay, so all around us here, we see that data now. Immediately is state by state. So right now we're seeing Alabama and Alaska. Maybe we're not interested in that. I'm speaking to you here from the state of Wisconsin. So let's grab that. We're going to get rid of this. You can see what I'm doing over here on the other side. I'm going to roll down to Wisconsin. And of course, if you're watching this somewhere else, hit submit. Get rid of this. And then here I see the data for Wisconsin. Okay, so here we can see the data for the state of Wisconsin. So, white households in the state of Wisconsin, median incomes. And then you see that little, it looks like a sideways H, or actually it's not a sideways, it's a regular H thing. That's the margin of error. You'll notice that it's very small for white population, and it's very much larger for Native Hawaiians and other Pacific Islanders. And that's due to sampling, right? If you remember your basic statistics, larger samples, smaller margins of error, right? But of course, the thing here is to notice that the disparities are quite significant, but by demographic group. And as a society, that's something that we should at a very minimum be aware of. This. All right, I'm going to take you to another. Enter in quintile. Hit search, and once I've allowed it to search for quintile, right? One of the things that comes up here is this household income HINC-05, as well as a bunch of other interesting information. But I want to grab this right now and just show it to you quickly. So here is this data table. Welcome back. So here we are on this, right? And I just want to point a couple things out quick. So up over here, right in the top line, we have the breakdown of U.S. households by quintile. So how many households in the United States are in the top 5% by income? How many are in the highest fourth, fifth, right? And so, of course, by fifth, we can see that the numbers are exactly even, 25,000. But then what we see in the second line is the lower limit for income by those households. So, we hear a lot in the media about, the top 1% or, the average household or upper class households or whatever. Well, if we're going to define the upper class as the top 20% of society, and then the working class is maybe the bottom 40% of society, then middle class is the rest, right? Well, where would you be, right? What would make you richer than middle class? Okay, so if we said that only 20% of people are upper class, right? Well, then that means that your household would have to be making at least $142,501, right? So that's that number up there, 142,501. Okay. Now, if you say, well, no, upper class people are only the top 5%, the richest 5% of people. Okay, then if you're all households with making more than $270,000 a year. It's worth knowing this because when people are polled, right, particularly in the United States, we find that nearly 95% of the population thinks they're middle class. So, yeah, that can't be right. Now, of 28,000, right, you've made it out of the bottom 20%. Right, so the bottom 20% has household incomes of less than $28,000 annually, household. Okay, if you have a household income of 53 grand and a change, then you've made it out of the bottom 40%. You're now approaching the median. Okay. Now, if you scroll down here, there's quite a lot of data here, and this is just one of the kabillions of tables at the census. You can see that this all breaks down by household type, right? So where they live, cities. Like we always hear that, poor people, if you're in the country, you hear poor people live in the city, and if you're in the city, you hear poor people live in the country, right? Well, as you can see, poor people live in about equal numbers everywhere as a percentage of the total society, and similarly with rich people. Here you can see by racial characteristics, right? So you can see that white households generally live in poverty. They're much fewer living at the bottom 20% than, say, within the black population within the United States. By characteristics, you can see that married couples. It's very rare for married couples to be in the bottom 20%. But if you're a female-led household, much more likely. Now, does this mean that married people become richer, or that rich people get married? Well, we couldn't say it from this data alone. We can simply say that being married correlates with relatively higher household incomes, and being single correlates with lower household incomes. All right, so a lot more data here, right? Take a look around. It's it's worth knowing, right? This is the truth, right? So what you see on the news or in the media is there to sell you something. By and large, this is what your taxes pay for. Good free data tell you the truth about the society you're living in. All right, that's enough for this time. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.